Hello, gamers. Welcome to the first week of the Juice Plus 90-day game. We have a special guest today. I was going to introduce Paolo, but I said everyone wants to hear from the boss, and he had the perfect response. He says, "I'm not the boss. You guys are the boss, and he works for us." So, what a cool.
It's true. That's true.
What a cool segue that is. So, I asked Paolo to just jump in and answer just a few insider questions. If you can think of any questions that you would like to ask Paolo, send them to me on the Facebook when I post this, and maybe we'll have a final March end webinar leading into the conference. But
happy to do that.
Yeah, Paolo, thanks. Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in. Before we kind of dive in, I had let Paolo know that there's over 3,500 gamers playing this game, and I call them the 5%ers, the ones that just sign me up. I'm in the game, and we've already launched with a lot of activity. We had a great call last night with over 700 people tuning in to our first standing Freedom Revolution call. And the themes for this 90-day sort of exercise is to play up, a healthy frame of healthy FOMO, and there's strength in numbers. There's a lot of energy coming into a Zoom webinar when there's 1,000 people or 700 people. So with that as context, Paul, before we dive into 2018 and talk about kind of what's in store for the next upcoming year, give us a sense of how we ended the year. How did we wrap up 2017 with revenues and stats, and give us some insiders into the financials and how we did as gamers out in the field.
All right. Well, 17 was an amazing year for all of us. I'll start with a disclaimer that our fiscal year, the way we count the year, actually ends at the end of April. So our stats are semi-official at the end of December, but in terms of calendar year, it was a record calendar year for the Juice Plus company. And that is saying a lot because it's coming on top of 2016. There was also a record year for the company, and that's on top of 15, which was a record year for the company, and that was on top of 14, which was a record year for the company. So as they say, we have been cooking with gas, and we couldn't be more grateful for all of that. And it's widespread. As you probably all know, we are now in 24 different countries, and 20 out of those 24 countries had individual records of their own. So it's not just one country here and there. I mean, 20 out of 24 is quite a bit. So that led, as I said, to a global record in sales. We are dangerously approaching the 800 million benchmark, which makes us very proud and very excited. And but what makes me more excited than the number in terms of sales is how many people we're reaching out there. And we are, as I say, dangerously approaching 1.5 million customers globally, which says a lot for what you all do out there. So
how many was that? Say that again. What was that?
1.5 million, 1.5 million.
Wow.
We are impacting a lot of people out there. That's, to me, almost as exciting or more exciting as the number of sales dollars, if you will. So it's good stuff. We also had a successful introduction of the Omega blend, which was on a limited basis from April through August, and then from September through the end of the year, it was open for sales, and we have shared that blend with over 50,000 consumers just in the U.S. alone. So very successful launch. And it's rolling out in some other parts of the world as well. Canada is just now getting it. It was a regulatory approval delay. Italy is just now soon to get it. It's not there yet. But my point is, we have had all of this success without even some of our key markets. So we're excited about that. So all that happened in 17. The number of people that attended the Brave Leaders program in 17, hundreds of people, and very well received, and now being fine-tuned, was something exciting for us in 17. Research was a highlight. We have 2 new very hot published studies, and we're in the process of taping Dr. Manfred Lamprecht to explain it to the masses in simple ways like we have been doing lately. and I've seen a clip of one of them just yesterday, and it looks pretty good. And 6 more studies underway that are going to be impactful, so we'll continue to invest money in that. And we can't forget the people side of things. Very excited about a couple of things. Excited about the promotion, if you will, of Sean Hopkins to Chief Operations Officer for, that was a good move for North America, which takes a few things off my plate, allows me to focus a little bit more, and we're very excited just to see people moving along in the company. That's always. I
gotta tell you, that warmed my heart when I heard that. That was just spot on promotion for that man.
I'm glad it was well received. I kind of felt it was going to be. Our VP of Information Technology, Dr. Dennis Wilson, has announced that he is retiring February 1st, so very soon here. And he's served us well for the last 10 years. But we have already hired a replacement for him, a gentleman by the name of John Threadgill, that is going to be cooking with gas. He has a lot of experience in technology transformation. He comes from the financial sector that uses the same kind of distribution that we do, which is distributed with representatives out there. So a lot of experience and good background for that. So we're excited about that. And last but not least, we were awarded at the end of the year with one of the best places to work award in Memphis, in the greater Memphis area, by a survey that's done. But the beauty of this is that we can influence the survey. They tabulate it independently, and it's done with your employees without you knowing exactly what they're going to say about the company and whatnot. And we made the top 1.5% of companies of more than 100 people. They just evaluated the ones of more than 100 people in the greater Memphis area. And so it was awesome, and I'm so very happy for that. So a lot of good things happened to us and for us in 2017.
Wow. 14, 15, 16, 17, we have the wind at our back. We have full sails ahead. Any predictions for, you say we're nearing 800. What you want to put a stake in the ground and claim? What's your prediction? You know, we're estimated, or we've heard rumors that the blue suits, as we call them back at corporate, you all are thinking that
we don't wear suits.
Yeah, I know. It's a term of endearment. We're going to cross $1 billion by 2020 in annual revenues. Any sense of what you think we're gonna track on in 18 and cross the finish line as we end this year?
You know, I'm knocking on wood as I say this, but we are, excuse me, we are an aircraft carrier. We are very powerful. We don't turn very fast, but we are very powerful. And because of that, I think I feel very confident to say that 2018 is going to be, or is poised to be, another record year for us. What the number exactly is going to be, I'm not going to guess here. We have an aspirational goal of getting to that mythical $1 billion mark by 2020. Whether we get there in 20 or 21, it really doesn't matter. But I think we have a lot of things lined up to get us there, and it's going to be a fantastic achievement for the company, because with that comes the fact that we're going to be impacting even more people on top of the 1.5 million worldwide that we already do. And so that's what excites me.
You know, on our kickoff
in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say so. On our kickoff call, Mitra sort of gave us a little bit of frame of reference on us, you know, going head toe-to-toe with big pharma. And, you know, I think the top 10 big pharmaceutical companies do about $150 billion a year in annual revenue, just the top 10. And that's just in the U.S. So we've got a lot of work to do. And what are you looking into 2018 with the wind at our back and full sail? What are you most excited about in this upcoming year for us?
You know, I think 2018 is going to be, like I said, another record year, but we are going to focus on a couple of things for 2018. One of the things that we're going to be focusing on a lot is the element of culture. Our company culture is incredibly unique. And I don't think that we do the best possible job of sharing that culture and making people see how special we are. or at least that's how I feel. So you're going to see a lot of focus on culture and what makes us tick the way we do, and how to share culture with others. Just like we all learn how to share our product story, if you will. We all learn how to share our business story, but we are just now starting to learn how to share our culture story, what binds us to the company. And so you're going to see us paying a little bit more attention to that. Team building and structure, because of our focus on longevity of the business and longevity of the income for those that are in the business. So we're going to be focusing on that. A lot of focus too on getting the word out on the customer portal as a way to provide better customer service to everybody. So getting the word out on that as well. But the key thing really is the thing that is the biggest risk and also the biggest opportunity for us. And that is, how do you balance relationships in a world that is increasingly social media, and how to not lose the bond of relationships in the world of social media. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of work on that. And obviously, it goes without saying, but it won't. It's the 25th anniversary of our Juice Plus brand, and of which we're all very proud of. And so you see quite a bit going on in terms of celebrating that, and also you see a lot of the corporate staff out there in events and Zoom calls and things of that nature. We're going to ramp up the game to have a year of excitement and a year of celebration of our 25th anniversary of Juice Plus.
That's fantastic. 25 years. Wow. 25 years. Little itty bitty fruit and vegetable powder is going to cross 800 billion this year, and fast approaching $1 billion. So we've got so much to celebrate. I think your focus on culture is fantastic. You know, we talked a lot about creating healthy FOMO for prospects and people that are looking at us, that are seeing us as we're trying to recruit and show that we are up to something. People want to be involved in people that are up to something, and I think our culture is one of our best assets. And you know, when people get in there and experience it, they're like, "Wow, I had no idea." But with so many great things going on, and so much to go to work for, what do you see out there as our biggest risk? What should we in the field pay attention to? I know I've heard you talk about this before, but just remind these gamers, what do you see as our biggest risk out there?
Yeah, I'll just go back to something that I said a minute ago. I'd like to focus, and I think that if I were to focus on one thing, it's our biggest risk and, again, our biggest opportunity. And that is to continue to learn and use social media to increase the speed at which we acquire customers and we acquire team members, but not forget the relationship side of it. If it becomes just a numbers game on social media, we are going to be impacting in a negative way the longevity of our businesses, corporate business and your individual business. And so I would say the balance between social media and relationships is the biggest issue in front of all of us.
That's really good. I know that it's a mixed blessing when social media gets a lot of customers, like maybe the British had, and there was a lot of excitement and buzz, but that was like almost too much too fast, and they had kind of the dust settling. So that's really good counsel for us in America, just to keep steady Eddie and keep developing those relationships good old fashioned way. That's really good. That's really good. In terms of playing up, you know, one of the contexts of this game, it's an Olympic year, playing up, and you know, the turnkey to happiness being growth, personally and professionally and cash flow wise. Growth is fun. Growth is good. Since assuming the role as CEO, how have you personally grown as an individual? What can you look back on, and how have you grown since assuming the role as CEO?
That's a toughie. You know, I have always been, I guess my DNA was like this from a very young age, somebody that wanted to improve things. I think that's what took me to become an engineer at one point. And so improving things has always been key to me. And I think that the biggest thing that happened since becoming CEO in 2012 is realizing that to improve things, I have to leverage myself through other people, as opposed to trying to do a whole lot of things yourself. You just can't do it, especially with the kind of growth that we have had. And I have been very fortunate that we've been able to surround ourselves with good folks and work more as teams. And I know it sounds a little trite, but to break that barrier of trust and just trust that things are going to happen with people with good intentions. And that has allowed me to focus on the four things that are typical of a CEO's job, which is people. I just talked about that. Strategy, and also culture, messaging, culture, and finally risk management, i.e. to protect the downside for everybody so we don't overstretch our steps here or bounds. And so that's been the biggest growth for me, has been to take a step back and work through people instead of doing it myself, but also keeping that focus on improving things, which is very much part of what I do. That doesn't mean that the curious George in me has gone anywhere. From time to time, I'll pop in meetings and just say, guys, I'm just here as a curious George. I want to hear what's going on. And I try to keep my mouth shut. But so that curious George is still there. But learning how to leverage through other people has been the biggest one.
That's really good. That's really good. So, you made me start to think on, you talked about team building, you talked about culture, you've talked about, you growing as a CEO, basically relying on your team, which is we do, that's one of the transitions we go through out in the field, is going from I to we, one team, one mission. And in terms of, I want to just, as a quick aside, because I know there's a lot of gamers that are gunning for NMD headed into Phoenix, or trying to get to that next level, or trying to get to Q or SSC or fast track to SC. One of the things that always impresses me about the company is they're always, you had said you worked for us out in the field, and one of the things that you rolled out over the last year was a benefits package to qualified national marketing directors. And I don't know if many of the gamers know about that, but if you're shooting for NMD for the healthcare benefits, which drove my wife 15 years ago to get there, and we've experienced that benefit. Now you've offered a benefits package to QNMDs. How has that rollout occurred? Do you have any sense of the numbers of people that have taken advantage of that? That's a big deal in terms of risk management. Healthcare is a big conversation in our country, but we as a company, we're expanding benefits to people, and just maybe share a quick aside on how that's rolled out this past year.
You bet. As you said, healthcare in this country is beyond broken. We actually have a system that is more about disease care and insurance than it is about healthcare. And what you see out there in the corporate world is a lot of companies that are reducing benefits and reducing packages, because one thing is for sure, and that affects us as well, it's extremely expensive. Just go on one of those exchanges that you can check on the Affordable Care Act and how much that would cost for a family of two, age, pick a number, 45, 50, with a couple of kids, and it's absolutely shocking. So, but that's why we see the benefits that we offer as a great responsibility on the part of the company, because we want to continue to offer them, and we want to expand, and we have been expanding. Specifically as to the expansion to NMDs, it has always been a passion of mine to bind even more people to our culture at levels below NMD. And not that they are not bound to us, but to offer more and to see that progression. So it was, I think it was a great move to offer some benefits. It's kind of a trickling of benefits that culminates with the NMD package, which is really second to none. But it was great to extend some benefits down to the level of QNMDs. And I can tell you that approximately 60% of all of our Qs have taken advantage of it, which is great, because it does require a structure. So it's not like they're all eligible. It does require some structure. That's an insurance company thing. And I'll go here and tell you, for those that are in this group, that if you have a kid in school or college the tuition benefit alone that comes with the Q package is worth it. You don't have to do the math. Trust me, you're in the money if you have a kid in school, and if you have two, even more. In terms of the QNMD benefit package. If not, you maybe should do the math, but in most cases, it's beneficial to you. But if you have a child that can take advantage of the tuition reimbursement at the Q level, it's a slam dunk. And we're proud to offer it, and we're going to continue to work on all of those benefits to improve even as the costs go up, which is kind of crazy.
That's fantastic. I mean, that we stand unique in the industry, I think. I don't know of another direct sales, let alone network marketing company. We have a virtual franchise. That's our trademark, but I don't know of another company that offers healthcare benefits. So we really, truly stand unique in the industry.
Absolutely.
We talk about, if your why is big enough, you'll figure out the how and be resourceful. If you've got this pull to being a part of something bigger than yourself and having a why that gets you into action and increases your activity and results-oriented mindset. We train our teams to know their why for doing this business. And if, your why is not big enough, if it doesn't make you cry, I'm not asking you to cry on camera here, but as a CEO of one of the most successful health food companies in the world, we all would love to know, what's your why, Paolo?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to something I said already. Without going into a whole lot of detail, I grew up in a somewhat difficult environment. My parents didn't come from money. Actually, we had some struggles. I remember that. I remember having meals in which we had a small piece of steak, my brother and I, and my parents were eating soup, saying that that's what they wanted to eat, but I knew that that wasn't the case. And so I've always had this drive to improve things and to make things better for everybody. And that is my why. The beauty of it is that at the Juice Plus company and in this environment, it's so much easier because everything that we do improves lives. We are changing lives. And so when I see a representative going through the comp plan, that is fulfilling. When I see somebody in the corporate environment being promoted and achieving more, that's fulfilling. And so I wake up every day thinking, how can we make this whole thing better? And that's always been my why. It's just become easier because our environment is so much healthier for that.
That's really good. I haven't checked the numbers this morning, but every morning over the last week I've got up and we've just continued to increase our numbers in our Facebook group with gamers. I'm going to guess we're over 3,600 people playing.
That's awesome.
We're getting a little sense of kind of what's in store for 18. You mentioned our culture. I think, having been around for a while, I know that I think our culture is, beyond Juice Plus and our virtual franchise, probably the most unique asset that we have to offer folks that are taking a look at us. What do you admire most about who we are as a culture?
Companies, they exist in an intersection. Think of three circles that intersect. And the three circles that intersect are the products that you offer, the method of distribution that you use, and the company culture. And at the very intersection of that is where companies live. So a lot of times, by the virtue of what I do for a living, if you will, people say, so what's your competition? And my answer is, I don't know. And it's worse than that. I don't care that much because we live in that intersection. So we can talk about, okay, there are products out there that try to compete with ours, even though ours are second to none, but I can talk about that. There are companies that use the same method of distribution that we use, direct sales, network marketing, and it doesn't have to be for nutritional products. I mean, insurance companies are all direct sales companies. Tesla is a direct sales company. We can talk about that method of distribution. And we can talk about different company cultures. There are company cultures that are good. Ours is not the only good company culture out there. But that intersection of those three things is so unique and so special that we should all be incredibly grateful for what we have, and at the same time be very mindful of preserving it. So that to me is what's amazing, is that confluence of those three circles and how well it plays out for us.
Out here in the field.
I talked a little bit about that in the New Year's letter that I sent out recently to all of the NMDs and all of the corporate people globally. And feel free to share that if that's the case. And it's a short letter, but our culture is really the underpinnings of everything that we do.
Really, as I was sort of thinking over the holiday as we were, self-organizing and getting all these amazing leaders to come together. I don't know if that would occur in other direct sales companies. You hear horror stories of this dog-eat-dog, territorial, backstabbing, and we have this amazing culture of win-win, abundance, very collegial, very helpful. We've got 13 or 14, 50, 7,500 club leaders that are coming together, not associated financially, but are coming together in this game to play ball together. There's two kinds of competition, right? There's competition that beats you down and breaks you up. Then there's healthy competition that brings you to life. And that's the upside of a healthy competitive game, and being a good sport, right? And taking care of your team. And so I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Just kind of in closing, we're headed into Phoenix. We're trying to make this the biggest and best conference ever. They always exceed expectations. Any inside hints of what we can expect for those that are, beginning to invite for Phoenix and get excited about coming? It's going to be in April, so it's going to be a little hotter. We're going to have a little beach party going on, I hope. We're trying to figure out a way for 3,500 people to self-organize after the Thursday night opening session and have a party. But what are some inside hints we can look forward to coming into Phoenix for these 3,500 gamers? A little inside track here.
Well, I'll give you something that is it's obvious in what it is, but how is going to be the special. It has to do with celebrating the 25th anniversary. And we are not going to do this just with banners and hype and whatnot. I think we have come up with a very creative way to do a look back and look forward 25 years. And I think it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be very much a cultural experience in Phoenix when it comes to celebrating our 25th anniversary. So just wait for that. Plus the usual chock full of stuff from the corporate team to you. But the celebration and how that celebration is going to play out, I think is going to turn out to be real special.
Well,
and you hear about it beforehand because we will be pinging the field to help us with it. And so stay tuned.
Right on. Well, we got a new hashtag. It's 25 game or 25 something. We'll come up with something. So it's a big year for the company. Just kind of in closing, what's one simple thing from the CEO that works for us? What's one simple thing that we gamers can do to elevate, our own game out on the field and business in 2018 and play up? What's your counsel and words of wisdom? One simple thing.
Yeah, my counsel would be like this. I have been talking about how companies grow and how people grow, and they're very similar. It's very organic. What that means is that it's growth doesn't happen on a certain percentage every year like you would put on a spreadsheet. It's very much organic, and it is in growth spurts, just like people. That's why, by the way, it's so important to keep companies young all the time. Not in age, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about young in terms of ideas and so forth. So the one word of focus, if you will, is because companies grow in growth spurts, and we are going through a growth spurt in the last several years, this is a good time to put the effort in. There will be a time when things are going to slow down and we're going to have to refresh it to create another growth spurt. But right now, take advantage of this moment because the superstars are being made right now, right this second. And so take advantage of the growth spurt and keep at it.
That's a great way to close. Healthy FOMO. This train has left the station. We're going to cross 1 billion, one way or another, and it's up to us to sort of ride this wave and have a full sail with the wind in our back. I want to thank you this morning for tuning in. So look forward to Paolo coming back in March. We've got a few other folks from corporate that have agreed to kind of chime in and share some words of wisdom. I am going to reach out to Sean Hopkins, so give him a heads up that you did this call for me, and we're going to try to tap into him maybe come February and talk about like how do we buy all of that fruit and vegetable around the world, and like some of that supply chain stuff kind of behind the scenes.
A lot of work goes on there that would be interesting to this team.
I mean, that's like the Wizard of Oz. You go behind like that. That's going to be something fun. So we're looking for others. So thank you, Paolo. Thank you all, gamers. We will see you all on the field of play. We got another call tonight. Thank you, Paolo, and God bless. Have a great January.
Thank you all, and we'll see you out there. Thanks.